What's going on out there, Junkies? Welcome back to another episode of Culture Junkies Live. Obviously, today we're going to be talking about the passing of the Immortal Stan Lee on Monday. It hit a lot of us very hard. We have a lot of memories, a lot of moments that we want to recap with you over the course of the show, and a couple other topics that I'll introduce as we go along. But let's go ahead and just get right into it. I'm going to introduce who's going to be on the show with me tonight. First and foremost, the lady who's always joining us on Culture Junkies Live, Miss LGZ. How are you doing, Miss Lady?
Hey, how is everyone?
All right, doing good. Also, Fallen Marvel's on the show with me today. How's it going?
Hey, what's up, everybody? Just still trying to get past the hurt, but
right,
we in there. We good. We in there.
Right. And Super Nerd Plus is on the show with us today as well.
How's it going, true believers?
Indeed. Very poignantly that he always has the Marvel posters in the background, right on point. And last but certainly not least is the dapper one, Mr. GQ. How you doing, my friend?
Doing well. Ready to reminisce about a person that I got to meet one time in life, and a very interesting personality for sure.
For sure. Obviously, Stan Lee touched millions of people around the world, generations. Four whole generations of avid readers. People learned how to read in general because of his stories that he wrote in Marvel Comics. People, were they lived through very tumultuous and troubling childhoods, and they got through them a lot because of his stories. But the man himself was just, as you put it, GQ, just a very interesting personality. I don't think there's anyone else on the planet quite like Stan Lee. So briefly, since you got to meet with him, and it's one of my biggest regrets that I didn't get to go to that Comic-Con when he was here in Michigan, the last one that he ever attended. But share with us a little bit of some of your memories of meeting Stan the Man Lee and what you take away from his passing at the age of 95.
Well, I actually met him, this would have been almost 20 years ago at a convention in New York at Madison Square Garden, actually. One of the New York comic conventions that was going on. He was there. Adam West was there. We were actually there for Fantasticon, essentially.
Yeah, I remember that convention.
Yeah. So I got to just and this was back before you had your whole photo op lines and all this other stuff, and we were interviewing various people. Now, obviously, with him being who he was, getting an opportunity to interview him just wasn't going to happen. It was him, Adam West were just kind of on the no-fly zone as far as interviews go because their booths, their lines were just constantly, popping. So I just basically just got in line just to, walk up to him, shake his hand, and just, let him know how much I've enjoyed, the X-Men books and all the various books that he's had a hand in. And, coolest dude in the world, man. I mean, just real chill, laid back, very humble, very, very good with the fans as far as, thankful for, for their support and their appreciation of his work. So, I mean, it was a brief encounter, but I mean, it was like, I'm not going to not take this opportunity, so,
right.
Very, very, like I said, just real easygoing, humble, awesome gentleman, to be honest.
So, real brief, I mean, you got to meet him there. What were some of your favorite things that he either created or stories that you remember that he had a hand in writing that you could share?
For me personally, his best stuff that I enjoyed a lot and really enjoyed, going all the way back to the Pride of the X-Men, going all the way back to some of those Fantastic Four episodes that we used to watch, on VHS, when he had the Stan Lee introduction. Like, his voice just would pull you in, it would get you hype and excited for the show you were about to watch.
Right.
And the fact that he took the time out to promote it like that, and he was ahead, because to me he was ahead of his time on that, because it's like you had a lot of comic creators that sold off some of their properties or licensed some of their properties to these various animation studios to do whatever. And it's like, no, Stan would get involved. He would do the narration. He would introduce, the whole concept of the show to the young viewers. He would, lend his voice for characters. He would act, like there was an episode of Amazing Spider-Man, if I remember right, where he was in the episode as himself. So, I mean, it's, just the fact that they have, that he was, passionate about his creations. It's like, you don't get that with a lot of people. Sometimes people will make something and, like, for example, Harrison Ford with Han Solo. It's like, dude, Han Solo kind of made you for a lot of people. Same thing with Indiana Jones and some of the other characters. Why are you so edgy and almost angry about people recognizing you as Han Solo? Like, that's how they know you. That's how they connect with you. Stan always seemed to just enjoy the fact that people love the Hulk, love Fantastic Four, love the various characters that he came up with. And he loved the fact that they loved it. So, I mean, that's to me what made him a very accommodating, very easygoing guy. And it showed through all his 95 years of life. You could just tell that he loved doing what he was doing. So
absolutely, I've never.
The song speaks a lot.
Absolutely, I it's very rare nowadays. I think, like you said, to see people that have that zest for life, that just, literally just enjoys everything, every aspect of life, just so thankful, so humble, always giving back, always there for the friends, always there for the fans, excuse me. And just never has a cross word to say about anyone that we know about. Even with his recent trouble that he had with people that were trying to take advantage of his estate, he never once came out publicly and just, were bashing people or had a cross word to say about anyone. He was just always positive, always uplifting, always inspiring. LGZ, I'm gonna let you have a minute here to talk about some of your memories of Stan. Like, what were some of your favorite stories, memories, what you loved about the man, how you first got exposed to him? So what was some of your favorite memories of Stan Lee?
So my brother, when I was younger, my brother had a ton of comic books. I really didn't read a lot of comic books growing up, but my brother was the one that kind of introduced me to like all of the creations of Stan Lee. So as I got older, I was, more into like cartoons, movies, and, stuff like that. But, my brother was the one that initially introduced me. And as I'm getting older, I'm like now exposed to like more and more stuff. So it's like, but I mean, of course, everybody knows I'm a movie lover. So all the movies, all the creations that's made over the years. And it's like, I'm seeing these movies and seeing his cameos, they're like epic. And I'm just like, I'm going to be sad now knowing that he's dead. And it's like, now I don't know how many movies, because I know they said he did a lot of cameos already for movies in the future. So it's like, it's going to be like different to see him on screen knowing that he's gone. But like so much talent, so much creation. And it's just like a weird feeling, because it's like, now, that's never going to happen again. So, I'm interested to see like who will be the next Stan Lee, right? Because life is about progression, life is about change. So this is a change that had to happen. So now I'm interested to see who's going to take up the helm or the legacy and try to carry that on.
Yeah, I think and I think what you highlighted is most of us come from, that comic book background, or we used to read the comics when we were younger. For some of us, like even me, I wanted to read more because of, comic books, and just the way Stan Lee would, like GQ alluded to, introduce the stories or introduce the characters. He was like the best possible hype man that any brand could have, because it was like over at DC, there was no one like that was just out front as the ambassador of the company. When you thought of Marvel, you thought of Stan Lee. Like, literally, that's what you thought of. And his voice, Excelsior and True Believer, and all of his witticisms that he would come up with, and Fallen Marvel. So why don't you share some of your favorite memories and stories and whatnot of Stan Lee, um, for all of the viewers to see.
For me personally, I think my first real introduction to, well, anything Marvel really obviously was the X-Men animated series and Spider-Man animated series. So a lot of my introduction was through the cartoons shows. And when Spider-Man ended, they had like once they done the contest of champions and of course like the the little, I guess the original Spider-Verse, so to speak, or whatever. Once they did all that, and then they had the last episode where he literally went to reality where it's supposed to be us, where he literally met Stan Lee, which was pretty cool. So like that was like my first time getting introduced to Stan Lee as far as like his contributions to Marvel. And that kind of just snowballed later on afterwards. I just started reading up on them and, you know, just seeing the contributions that he had to like the stuff that I wound up loving, once I finally started being an avid reader and so forth, because I mean, essentially because of, how he came about creating certain characters like Spider-Man fans. Like that's one of the reasons why Spider-Man is pretty much among my top favorite superheroes of all time. It's because I really feel like because a lot of us have heard the stories with him creating, you know, Spider-Man as a character. Like I think like to a lot of degree, he put a lot of himself into that character. And uh just kind of just seeing like how much love he had for this character, like for all his characters, and just again the how vibrant he was, even with his being up in age, and uh, just how much life he brought to the characters that created that like everyone loves and stuff like that. Like it's something that you just can't forget, man. And I hate that I didn't get a chance to meet him. But it's just one of those things that happens in life. But I mean, the man's legacy definitely precedes him. So it's definitely something that is going to hurt a lot, because even with the cameos and stuff, I'm telling you, because I think they said that either his final one was in Avengers 4 or something like that, or what. I'm telling you, the moment we see in Love and Memory of Stan Lee, I'm telling you, there won't be a dry eye in the theater. I'm telling you.
Right. Especially not on fan night, right?
Oh, no. No.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially not on fan night. So Super Nerd, your turn to talk about the Immortal Stan Lee. What are some of your favorite memories? What are you gonna remember the most?
I just like GQ said on the old cartoon, especially Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, the introduction, which is so iconic. I used to love listening to that. And then when I got into the books, I always loved that we opened up the first page. It says Stan Lee Presents. I used to love. Then he had his bullpens in there too. So I started like when I got into comic books, I was getting a lot of the older Spider-Man comic books. And I would never, because on certain comic book stores, because it's my first time going to a comic book, because Waffles told me about a comic book store, and I went there, and I didn't know it was new issues. I was going to the long boxes and dig old issues. So I was like getting old issues of Spider-Man books, and I would get the the reprints from the ones from the 60s and the 80s, whatever, and 70s, and I would always see that Stan Lee Presents or Jack Kirby, but it was mostly seeing that big bold letter Stan Lee Presents. And Stan Lee give his little talk, his whole speech and whatnot. And I used to love reading those.
Hey, true believers!
Love that. I used to love just reading that. And his infectious speech is just like amazing. You can hear him talk all day because he always got a story about something, or just hearing him just explain something is great. Like especially when you get in the new age, when you start telling how he created Spider-Man, and he got these long stories that are just, you don't want him to stop telling the story of how he created Spider-Man and the other characters as well. And it was such a great time growing up in those days listening to him talk. And it was great. I just, man, and I never met him, but I've seen him because I was like, he was at Comic-Con, and I seen him, and it was like a long line. I was like, oh, I want to get in this line, but I did.
You didn't want to wait, I
didn't want to wait, but I wanted to meet him.
Yeah, and it's like you never get the chance necessarily. You don't want to take for granted the chance to meet your heroes in real life. You always think, maybe next time, and then you find out that that the opportunity never arises, and you're left with this this regret that you feel. And that's kind of what I felt when I knew Stan was coming to Motor City Comic Con. I think how long ago was that? Was that 6 or 7 years ago? I think when he came to Motor City Comic Con. And I remember at the time I wasn't really making a lot of money. I think I might have been unemployed at the time, so I knew I didn't have tickets to get in, and no way would I be able to pay the fee to wait in the line and meet Stan. I wish, because I had a feeling at that time, because I knew Stan was getting older, and I said, man, if I don't go to this convention and I don't meet him, I'll never get the chance to do so.
Right.
And I just remember sitting on my couch. I think one of our fans over on Instagram actually alerted me to the news that he had passed, and I remember very vividly when I saw that message, and I said, what are you talking about? Did you hear about Stan? I was like, what are you talking about? And then I go and search Stan Lee, and I saw the note that he had passed. Yeah. Dude, I teared up immediately, man.
Oh, I'm sure everybody did. I was at work.
It was just like, because it was like, it's not like you didn't expect it. It's not like we didn't all know that, Stan could go at any time. So you can always prepare yourself for the end of losing someone that means so much to you. But when the reality hits you, you still feel that emotion. Because for me, like I said, part of the reason I loved reading, I didn't like reading books, and I didn't like reading books at all. But reading the adventures of these cartoon heroes that I saw on TV, like you pointed out, Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends. I used to watch that all the time. The Incredible Hulk, back in the old cartoon, and hearing Stan's voice at the beginning of those. At the beginning of those shows, and then you pick up the comic book and you see, hey, True Believers of Stan Lee, and you just hear his voice as you're reading it. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, and it was just like that instilled in me a love of adventure, of purpose, because he always tried to inspire people to be better. Like even right now, like his old editorial from the back of the 1965 Amazing Spider-Man comic book, where he talks about racism. It just went viral again. I shared it to my page. I'm sure a lot of other people shared it to their pages. But dude, I mean, when you read it, it's extremely powerful, and especially when you think it's 50. He wrote that thing 50 years ago, and that it resonates still so strongly today.
Exactly. It's even crazier if you even go back, because I mean, a lot of people may not know this. I mean, fans who read the books know about Xavier and Magneto were based off, Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Just that alone, just like he really, understood what each person was fighting for. And even though, they're black men, he understood that, excuse me, he understood that, and he made that into these characters whereas they both are the same, but they're mutants. One believes this thing, one believes that thing. So that resonates to this day even more. Like you said, and what he wrote, it's crazy how you really think about that.
GQ, one of the things that I also always loved about Stan, and I think we talked about it a little bit, is just how progressive he was as a human being. Because like even at the time when no one was really pushing black superheroes at all, he goes out and creates the Black Panther with Jack Kirby, and pushes this narrative of not this token or cliched blaxploitation character. No, he makes him an incredibly intelligent African king of the most advanced nation on the planet. Like, and he's a Jewish dude from New York creating this character.
I think the reason that he did that though is the fact that Jews went through a lot of persecution and their on their own as well, and I think it was a little bit of almost like a kindred spirit type of thing there, and also it's like he saw the plight of Black people in America and wanted to make a statement about that. So when he created the Black Panther character, and obviously some influence with the Black Panther Party as well. But I think what he was doing was making a statement in the way that he was able to, because that was his medium, was entertainment and obviously comics. And for him to take that chance, that was taking a big risk. Because racism was strong back in the '60s. I mean,
very
I'm
strong.
not saying it still isn't, but
right.
I mean it was a heck of a lot more blatant in the '60s. And for him to take a character, create a character, and give him those those personality, those attributes essentially. And, he took a big risk doing that, and thankfully it's successful. And obviously we're seeing the dividends of his original investment from way back then with the Black Panther film that came out earlier this year. And just the whole idea of it. It's like, yes, there's people that, say that things could have been done differently, but at its core, he created a character, a Black character that was, a strong Black character. It wasn't stereotypical, wasn't, the usual jive, shuck and jive thing. It was, no, like you said, he's a king. He's the king of this, extremely powerful nation in Africa. And the film comes out and they reflect that. And it's one of the highest grossing films of all time. So, for that to resonate through, 50 plus years, over all this time and still be relevant, still, be making a statement. It just goes to show that that he was, again, well ahead of his time in a lot of the things that he was doing. And as far as comics go, but even just storytelling, he was well ahead of his time in a lot of things.
I agree. And, Fallen Marvel, speak to, he didn't just represent Marvel. He, and I think it was someone, Marcus Smith over in the chat on Facebook, saying he wasn't just an ambassador for Marvel, he was an ambassador for the comic book industry as a whole. Speak to also, because he left Marvel a long while ago, even though he was chairman emeritus, but he didn't stop creating. I remember very vividly when he went over to DC and created his own versions of their popular characters. Remember those comic books, Stanley, I forget what they were called. Speak on those a little bit. I think they came out in the late '90s, early 2000s. Those books that Stanley did for DC, and they were reimaginings of their superheroes. I remember Stanley creates Superman or something like that. They had. Speak to that about Stanley and his ambassadorship of the comic book industry.
Well, I mean, it's essentially just no surprise that anything that was essentially comic book related, Stan Lee was behind it. He loved what they were doing over at DC. I mean, I believe that was kind of one of the reasons why he got into working in the medium in the first place. But I know as far as the involvement with the DC, I mean, that I don't think I'm that familiar with, unless he had an input, when they were doing the amalgam stuff. But other than that, it's I forget exactly what he was saying. It was something that he had said it pertains to, it was something he had said pertaining to Superman or whatever, but I can't exactly recall what he said though.
I got it right here actually. The line that he had over in DC, and that came out in 2001. It was a collaboration that he did with DC, and it was just imagine Stan Lee's Batman, just imagine Stan Lee's Superman, just imagine Stan Lee's Wonder Woman, just imagine Stan Lee's Green Lantern, the Flash, he did Robin, he did Shazam, Aquaman, Catwoman, Sandman, the Justice League. He did a whole bunch of books under the DC imprint, and it was just, I remember it was just wild just even having those books come out, because that was doing something like that with Stan Lee over at DC was just it was unfathomable at the time. It was like, what? Stan Lee's creating a DC book? What? I gotta have those, you know? So, and it was
like the equivalent of when like Ric Flair went to WWF.
That's actually a good allegory for it. You know, that's actually a really good allegory, because it's like, it was just unthinkable. It's like, okay, for the wrestling analogy, you know, like you use, you know, what were the most unlikely transfers over of, you know, between wrestling promotions? It was either Ric Flair being on WWF or Sting coming over to WWF. Both things that eventually did happen, but Sting didn't happen until after he purchased till after Vince purchased WCW from Ted Turner. But the reverse also, with Hulk Hogan going over to WCW, which also happened. You know, these were just unfathomable things. Like, you're just like, this would never happen. Like, what are you talking about? That, you know, these are icons that don't transfer over. But his reach, you know, when he created what was that one company that he had? I forget it, that he created Power Entertainment, I think it was, where he was also trying to create movies. I mean, he was just a media genius, that guy. You know, he was just all about creating fantastic. He even created a manga, I think, over in Japan. I forget what it was. I have to look it up. He created an original manga character that he developed, and actually had a book. Let's see, what was the character? It was Ultimo. Yeah, Ultimo. That was Stan Lee's book.
Okay.
And it came out in 2008. It was written by Stan Lee, and actually it was drawn by an artist in Japan, and was published in Japan before it came over here. That's something else. I mean, just his reach was worldwide, and it's amazing how much influence he had over the world, and he'll be greatly missed. Any other final thoughts, remembrances, thank yous you want to offer up to Stan Lee? Let's go around the horn. Thank you, Stan, very much for inspiring me, influencing my imagination, and making me want to be a better person, and always looking to the endless possibilities that are available in life. I'll always miss you. Anybody else?
I mean, it's hard to really come up with the words, man. It's just, I mean, he's responsible for so many things that I wound up loving growing up, you know. So, I mean, the only thing I can really say is just, you know, thanks for the contribution of making many of our childhoods, like, you know, awesome, you know, having these characters to look up to, and the aspect and everything. So, I mean, all we can say is just thanks, and, you know, just rest well.
That's all you
man.
can really sell. Yeah, is thanks.
Well.
LGZ, Super Nerd, GQ. Any other last comments you want to give to Stan before we move on?
Just thank you, Stan Lee, just especially creating Spider-Man, because y'all all know Spider-Man is one of my favorite characters, and just seeing them side by side is definitely get you choked up.
The GOAT.
Yeah, exactly. So I can remember just as a kid just seeing Spider-Man. So knowing that Stan created Spider-Man just gets you even more just in awe. But definitely rest easy. Rest in paradise.
GQ, LGZ, go ahead.
I was gonna say thank you for the inspiration and innovation for past, present, and future.
GQ.
Well, I'm gonna actually go out of the chat because some people have given their words. Marcus Smith saying that Stan Lee is our generation's Walt Disney. That's a very good comparison. Johnny Patton, Stan Lee was showing the world what impact a single person can have, breaking the mold. Marcus Smith also, Stan Lee was America's favorite uncle. And Q says that he was a true walking legend. I definitely agree with all those sentiments. I will definitely say that Stan Lee has created a lot of my childhood characters that I enjoyed over the years. That's I don't know. It's hard to say that anybody has had an impact as great as his, because I mean, if you look at like George Lucas obviously influenced my childhood with Star Wars. You look back at the people at Hasbro and Sunbow and Marvel, and again Marvel being involved as well, that created the Transformers cartoon that influenced my childhood. But when it really comes down to it, like the superheroes that I've always enjoyed were characters that Stan Lee had a hand in. And, it's like, yes, I liked Superman when I was a kid. I've never, met, I've never met or, really had a lot of experience with, was it Jerry Siegel and Joe Shuster?
Yeah.
Joel Shuster. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because that was so far back. It's like Stan was literally the guy that came up with a lot of my favorite characters now, in from growing up, and he was alive, in my lifetime that, and I was able to meet him. So, I mean, that's unusual, the way I look at it. So, I mean, he's definitely had a big influence on my life as far as my entertainment, the things that I enjoy. And, he will definitely be missed. But I mean, at the same time, his legacy is obviously long and far reaching. So, I mean, we're going to be enjoying his creations for a long time to come.
Yeah. Thanks, Stan. We love you. We'll miss you. All right. So moving on to the next topic. So I got a hot take, that I want to bring out to everybody, and I know GQ is waiting and raring to go for this one. So yesterday the Detective Pikachu trailer came out, and watching it, I was just struck, by the possibilities of this movie when it gets ready to come out, right? It's live action. The Pokemon are fully realized. You got Ryan Reynolds running around as Pikachu. You see all, your favorite Pikachu, your favorite Pokemon that you had or that you like to play with, as you were growing up. And, it was like almost like a fantasy come true. So I have a hot take. Outside of Avengers 4, which is practically guaranteed to make $1 billion next year, my hot take is that Detective Pikachu will also break $1 billion. So you guys agree with that hot take, or do you think that's a trash opinion?
I think it's possible.
Yeah, right.
I'm just gonna say it's possible. It really depends on what it's up against next summer. So, is it slated for a summer release? I forget.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is slated for a summer release.
So yeah, like it really depends on what it's going to go up against, because there's so much next summer that's going to be out that it's a lot of stiff competition next year. But knowing how big, like at least like a bigger franchise Pokemon has been, it's possible depending on like, how it's received and whatnot. But right now it has a lot good going for it. So I'm not going to say it's a definite probability, but I'm just going to say it's possible.
Okay. All right.
I don't think so.
Hey, what do you base your opinion off of? Let me ask you that.
You remember, was that last year, 2 years ago, when they showed that Pokemon movie and Pikachu spoke, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, I remember that.
That's how everybody gonna feel about that now. Like, why is he talking now? Like, I want to hear that shit.
that's your take on it? Because he talks? That's your take?
The people listen.
But that moment was different. Like they literally retold like what was it? The second Pokemon where it obviously didn't happen. So,
but still though, it was weird. Like it was
weird.
Some odd years.
Yeah.
This motherfucker never said a word. Now he's a detective. Man, please.
They literally based this like off like an offshoot where that actually happened. So it's not like it's the first time they did it. It's like there's actual physical game out there like for this.
Okay.
Right.
So it's not like they just pulled it out of their ass.
Right. Right. It's not like one of them deals where they just made it up out of thin air and
I mean,
come on.
Shit, they pulling shit right now. I ain't never heard this shit before.
No, I understand. But
is he wearing a monocle as well? I don't want to see that shit.
No, man, no.
This motherfucker will be fighting Pokemon, not trying to solve their murders. What is this? Are you afraid of Roger Rabbit? That shit.
You know, honestly, you know, you bring that up. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? LGZ. You know, you and I were talking about this a little bit on the pre-show. I was thinking, you know, that's kind of the way they were going to go with this, with the whole live action. They were going to do a whole Who Framed Roger Rabbit type deal with the Pokemon, where they were cell shaded and they looked like toons, but the people were actually real. That's kind of what I thought it was going to do, but I think the way they did it this way is going to be a lot better. But what's your take, LGZ? Please don't tell me she left me hanging again. Come on.
I'm here.
Okay. All right.
I'm here. I'm just like, I still stand by what I said. I don't think it's going to make no money. I don't think it's going to, it's definitely not going to make $1 billion. That's what I will say. And I think people are going to, I just think there's so many things that just seem wrong.
Oh man, she cut it out.
Because I saw the trailer,
wow.
Like, it's actually, I don't think.
Man, you need some better reception. That's the first thing you need to get is some better reception before you say something. But it's anyway. So here's my reasoning for this, and GQ wants to get his 2 cents in and actually, you know, really kind of eviscerate my standpoint on this. There's another movie that just passed 700 million that we thought had no business even getting to it. It's called Venom. Now, if Venom can get 700 million worldwide, you don't think Detective Pikachu, which is, you know, starring a much more popular character, has a little bit more wider reach than Venom across the world, couldn't easily do $1 billion? That's my take on it. That's why I said it. So go ahead, GQ. What's your 2 cents on this?
That's cute and all, but
that's cute. He says.
Let me explain a few things for you for the uninitiated when it comes to movies and how they work. Venom came out in October when nothing else was coming out. Basically, it had the run of the month, and it went up against A Star Is Born or something like that. Which, let's be real, that wasn't a movie. That was just something that they just happened to slap together because they had some money laying around. I'm gonna give you a little heads up on the release date.
What is
Guess when that movie comes out on May 10th.
Oh no!
2019.
Oh no! Oh no!
This will come out a week before that.
Yeah, Avengers 4. What? Yeah, that's yeah.
As a black hole with an enormous event horizon that is going to destroy any and all money that even tries to go towards the
for that month. Wow.
Avengers is going to swallow that movie whole.
No,
that movie is it is not going to outlast Avengers at the theater either.
Oh no, I don't think so.
It's going to be in the theater before and after that movie.
Yeah,
so
I can see that.
If it wants to get some money,
it's going to get moved.
You need to find a way to move that movie to like February.
Hey, and guess who's the brain trust behind releasing that movie? Who's distributing it?
Toho
Pictures.
No, that would be Warner Brothers Pictures.
Oh, well.
I guess
Brothers Pictures, man.
This is not the one the hill you want to die on
exactly, man. Like you want to make some money.
They can't stick to their guns on this one because they blinked when they had Batman versus Superman.
They sure did.
In America,
they sure did.
They gotta blink. They gotta close their eyes. They gotta take a long nap before they think they're gonna go up against Avengers 4.
Wow, I did not see.
There is a hard and fast rule. There used to be like never come out in a month with Star Wars. Now it's don't come out in a month when Marvel is about to drop their big tent pole and
yeah.
Like I really thought it was
crucified.
Yeah,
Can y'all hear me now?
Go right ahead. We can hear you. Go right ahead.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying that it's definitely not going to be, even if it wasn't falling behind Avengers 4, it still wasn't going to make $1 billion.
Man, I totally disagree.
It's a live action film it's a live action film. I just don't think it's going to do it.
You want me to put you on blast about how you squealed about Jigglypuff, really? And you say this movie ain't gonna make?
Because I like Jigglypuff. Wait a minute, but I've been watching Pokemon for almost 20 years. Like,
but this thing ain't gonna make $1 billion. Okay. Oh, okay. All right.
It's not because it's live action. What was the first thing I said as soon as I saw it? I was like, "Oh, it's live action." Nah, Like I'm telling you, it's not finna do that.
But see, your excitement. See, okay, stop. But see, but your excitement over seeing Jigglypuff because you're an adult. Think about the other adults that are much more into Pokemon than you. These are we're talking Nintendo fanboys. We're talking like extreme Nintendo fanboys. Maybe not to the point of Marvel fanboys that will definitely go and see it like 2 or 3 times, but I think they would actually do that for this movie. You got kids that will want to go see this thing repeated times, and that's usually the formula for success. But like GQ brought up, they definitely shouldn't put it a week after Avengers 4. What are they thinking?
They like failure, apparently.
I guess so.
Apparently. What are they thinking?
I need to know what movies are going to be released on May 3rd of next year. Because if anybody else but Avengers is there, something's crazy, man.
Now, I'm gonna look that up right now just to see what else gets lost in the shuffle.
Please do let me know.
I just can't believe that they did that, man. I mean, just wow.
Yeah,
DC like sadomasochistic stuff. I don't know. They like being.
It's not DC. That's Warner Brothers, man. I don't know what's wrong with them.
They all in the same gang. Put it that way.
I mean, dang.
John Wick 3 comes out on the 17th.
John Wick 3, and then you got Aladdin. Disney's double.
Well, John Wick might give him. John Wick gonna make its money.
Yeah, John Wick gonna make his money, but it's gonna cut it in the profits.
Pikachu ain't. John Wick finna make the money.
John Wick gonna make that money. You right about that.
Hold on. At the end of the month, though, Godzilla King of Monsters is supposed to drop.
Oh, you know I wanted to see that movie. Oh my God, are you kidding? Wow.
Well, hold on. They mismarked this. It put Bad Boys 4 instead of 3. That's supposed to come out. Minecraft is supposed to come out.
Minecraft.
Yep.
Yeah, they were making it.
What?
Wait a minute. Speaking of now. Damn it! It's still remind.
Oh my God!
Nah, man. They need
a remake of Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Really? That comes out that month.
The Steve Martin Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Yeah, that was a remake. That was a remake too. The original was Marlon Brando and David Niven. That was the original from '64. Ugly Dolls, Brightburn. So basically, all these movies, with the exception of John Wick and maybe Godzilla, because again they already on shaky ground with that, are going to make their money. Aladdin obviously is going to make his money because again it's another Disney film, so I ain't worried about that.
Yo,
Pikachu's going to get lost in the shuffle.
You ain't lying.
That's gonna bomb.
Wow.
It's gonna make no billion.
It's gonna bomb, but like it's in a bad spot.
It's gonna bomb.
Wow, that's a terrible spot, man.
I say 80 million. I say 80 million. Maybe less than that.
Dog, man. No, man. Come on, man.
It'll make close to at least 80.
80 million.
Come on, man.
Johnny in the chat, Johnny Patton in the chat, and said whoever set that release date is getting fired.
They need to get fired. Right. For real.
Because,
absolutely.
I mean, let's be real. It's like all they had to do was just Google. All you had to do was go to Google. What's coming out in May?
Mm-hmm. And where is the Marvel movie?
You saw Disney had 2 movies.
Okay, we're not doing it in this month.
Marvel opens the month. Marvel opens the month on May 3rd. And it's the thing. If Robert Downey Jr. decides to send a tweet, it might get pushed back into like the last week of April again. And they'll just bulldoze right into May, like we just running everybody over, y'all. Man,
if they were smart, they'll move this movie up. Not move it back, move it up. Move it up to like April.
It's gotta go forward.
It's gotta go forward. It can't go backwards.
Because wait, Miss Marvel drops what in March or February?
Captain Marvel drops in March. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, dude,
so So you need to go.
They gotta find.
What's in April? But what's in April?
They gotta find a weekend in April. That's all they can
do. Go April 4th, like the first weekend in April. Go the first weekend in April. Put it out then, like
hold on.
You know what? June,
what's coming out in April?
Avengers is being listed in April now. April 24th.
That won't matter. That won't matter. It really won't matter.
Pet Cemetery April 5th. Shazam April 3rd. I don't know what this is. A horror movie, Curse of La Llorona or something. I don't know. Aftermath. Playmobil. How they gonna make a Playmobil movie?
A Playmobil movie? Nah, they really running out of ideas. Playmobil movie. It was bad enough we had Lego movie. Now we're getting a Playmobil movie. Oh my god. Oh my god.
The Lego movie was live though. The Lego movie was live. Come on.
The first one was. I don't know about the.
Yeah, the first one was. The second one was Trizash. I don't know about that second one. The first one was fine, but the second one that's doing too much. Especially when you factor in that you had a Lego Batman movie is sandwiched in between. And what, 2 Lego Batman movies, I think, right? Do we have 2 Lego Batman movies?
Yeah, there's 2. Well, I think we're getting a second one, aren't we?
Oh, we're getting a second one. We're getting a second one. Right. It was just too many Lego movies. But now they're making a Playmobil movie. Oh my god, whatever. So anyway, hot take: will it make $1 billion or not? It's looking a lot like not. So
that movie would have had to have found a black hole month like October, where like it was the only game in town. But you came out. You're about to come out during the worst possible summer for any film because they already they made $2 billion on the first Avengers Part 3.
Yeah,
the first part. So you know after that cliffhanger, everybody's going to see this movie.
Yeah.
The whole world is going to see this movie.
Remember how pissed everybody was that Ant-Man and the Wasp didn't touch on anything about Avengers 4? Like, people were like...
It touched
barely.
The man is stuck in the quantum realm.
Right. I'm like, barely. That was it. But people want... Yeah, everybody else, they wanted to have some more revelations for Avengers 4 from coming out of that movie. And they were like,
they did that perfect. Because here's the funny thing.
I agree.
All Captain Marvel has to do is just butt itself up to what she's going to do. And they'll still be messing with people's heads.
Right.
Y'all got another month or 2 to figure out what's about to happen.
Right.
And then, man, I'm telling you, the second they announce tickets, y'all better have your money ready.
Oh, yeah. It was bad. It was bad. Absolutely.
Taking over a row or 2.
Hey,
how early did
How early would they put it up? Like, how early did they do Avengers Infinity War? Was that like 2 months in advance? Yeah, I think it was like 2 months in advance.
I bet when Captain Marvel drops, that will be the very next weekend, or if not that same weekend, is when you're probably going to get Avengers 4.
That'd be crazy.
All I can say is take that day off now.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
What the tickets for Captain Marvel, they'll put like the Avengers 4 tickets like up like not long after.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so moving right along. So the next topic that we're going to talk about. So the Game Awards nominations came out just yesterday. And some of the usual suspects were a part of it. You know, Red Dead Redemption, Spider-Man, God of War for Game of the Year. But, you know, up and down the list, you know, some really interesting choices that we have to pick from. But obviously Red Dead and Spider-Man are leading a lot of the nominations. But I think this Game of the Year nomination is going to be really hotly contested. I know a lot of people are thinking that Red Dead is just going to run away with it, but I'm not so sure. Spider-Man was really good. That was a system seller, man. It sold systems. It was a really tight narrative, very well done, you know, had great music and stuff like that. But let's not sleep on God of War either. So what's the odds on favor for the top awards for the Game Awards 2018, which are going to be airing in a matter of a few weeks in December? What's everybody think the game of the year is going to end up being?
Spider-Man, probably.
You're not biased in that pick, are you?
Huh?
You're not biased in that pick, are you?
No, I beat the game actually. No, I actually beat it.
But no, I'm asking because did you play Red Dead or God of War?
I haven't got Red Dead. I haven't played God of War. I haven't played God of War in years.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yeah, same here.
But I haven't heard anybody talk crazy about how great God of War is. I haven't really heard anything. I haven't heard you guys talk about it.
Dog, don't you remember the memes that used to come out about boy? You know, Kratos and the whole boy thing. Come on, man. Right, you can measure the popularity by the memes that they make off of the game. So I'm just saying.
I mean, true, but I mean, it kind of like it came out, the meme was out, and then bam, everybody's waiting for Spider-Man basically. Red Dead, I mean, it looks good. I definitely want to get it.
Looks incredible, honestly.
Looks incredible, absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, it could be. It's neck and neck. But at the same time, I mean, what else is it offering besides looks? Is the gameplay, is the controls good? Because I heard the controls was
talk to Megashawn. Talk to Megashawn. I bet you he tell you. Yeah, talk to Megashawn. I bet you he tell you. But, so what's everybody else's pick for Game of the Year?
It's gonna be a toss up between Red Dead and Spider-Man to me. Like
Okay.
just based on everything else that's going on.
Did you play Red Dead?
Not yet. I haven't put it in yet. I just installed
Damn, this dude
it.
sound like Dido.
Yeah, it's
You sound like Dido. Gotta ain't played it yet. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat as Dido. The thing is, Dido has his situation like a bit more planned out than I do. So I'm just still just kind of just going wherever the wind blows. But I mean, just right now, based on how everybody made, I'm going by the hype before the games came out versus where they're at now. So it's definitely going to come down to Spider-Man and Red Dead, but odds might be Red Dead. Like the odds might be stacked a little bit more toward Red Dead though, but it could be an upset. We'll see.
LG, you got a horse in this race?
I actually haven't played any of them yet. Obviously, I think my son has played the Spider-Man game, but I think I was really, I guess I was really waiting for Red Dead Redemption because I played the first one, but I was waiting for this one, but I don't have it yet, so I don't know. But I think just by reading the reviews that have come out from like all across everywhere, I think that Spider-Man is going to take it.
Okay, interesting. All right, GQ, what's your thoughts?
Red Dead obviously has a bigger market share to watch. It doesn't really, but I mean, it's available on more systems than Spider-Man. Obviously, that's one advantage. The fact that it's the first 2-disc game of at least on the PS4 for sure.
Oh wow, but, is it? Wow.
Yeah, it's a 2-disc install. It's a 2-disc game. It's
Rockstar always pushing the envelope. Rockstar, man.
Yep. So yeah, it's like 105 gig install. So I mean, that in and of itself is huge. But at the same time, it's like, okay, if all that really is just an enormous map, and like Super Nerd said, if there's not any good controls, good gameplay, good substance, okay, cool. I have this enormous map that I can ride a horse around on for hours and hours and hours on end. So I mean, Red Dead probably will take it just based on the fact that it's the most recent release, and a lot of people are hyped for it. A lot of people are enjoying it. But I'm thinking Spider-Man has a really good close second to that. Just given the fact that Spider-Man, brought a lot of people back to how good Spider-Man 2 was when that originally came out, and just took all of that and just amped it way up. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. It's going to be a close race, but Red Dead might be the one that takes it.
Okay, yeah. My money, if I was a betting man, I'd have to put it on Red Dead, just based off of how gorgeous the game looks, what you can do with it, the freedom of it, how you can basically live, an entire, fantasy life as a cowboy in the front, as a frontiersman. And some of the sadistic stuff people be doing, like feeding feminists to gators and dragging them along and running them across railroad tracks. Just the freedom of choice that you have in that game. Just the sandbox environment that you have in Red Dead it always just astonishes me how far Rockstar pushes the envelope with a lot of their games.
It's the Grand Theft Auto of the West,
right? Exactly.
Maurice Baker does bring up an interesting point, though. He said it was a 5-hour install when they're buying it digital.
Jesus, man.
So that's what I'm saying. And again, that again is always my argument against digital versus physical. Games. I will always get physical when possible. Because
but still, even with the physical, you had to install the game, right? Like, because you had to do it on both discs.
You 5 hours. It ain't taking you 5 hours to do it.
That's true.
It's pulling it off of the disc.
That's true. That is true. That part is true.
That in and of itself is one of the main reasons that because imagine let's
compelling
say,
argument.
Let's say the install decides it wants to have a hiccup in the middle of the install, or let's say
your internet goes out or something like that. Yeah,
right. Well, for whatever reason, you have to I don't know. You have to take the game off because your hard drive has an issue. Then you got to reinstall the game. You got to wait another 5 hours or more. And the other thing is, with a lot of internet companies, let's don't forget they're gonna start throttling you after a certain amount of gigabytes downloaded. Right. And 105 is probably right in the range of a lot of their grades. It's like, hold on, you download a little too much right now.
What? Let me see.
So physical always wins for me.
Can I just say something about Red Dead Redemption? I
Go
hate
ahead.
that it took them a long time to do part 2. Like it was a very, very long time. I hated that.
Come on, good things are worth the wait, though, right?
No, because they pushed it back a couple times. Like it was supposed to come out like a year ago, right? Or like
But it's
2
worth
years
the
ago.
wait, right?
Like
It's
it.
worth the wait.
Hold on.
I don't know,
Are
but I'm
you
just saying like
are you new to video games?
I'm sorry.
Are you new to video games? Like
No, no, I'm
because
not. But I'm just. I mean, I was just like after playing 1, I was like really excited for 2, and then it just like never came. Got pushed, and it's like I don't know. I was just making a side note. Like I hate that it took
apparently
so long.
LGZ has never heard of a company called Rare, who used to push their games back quite
All the
often.
time.
And
All the
guess what?
time.
Every time they did it, it didn't matter. It was worth the wait. So sometimes you gotta
I
wait.
think what Beyond Good and Evil was one of them, right? Beyond Good and Evil, they pushed back a lot.
No. We talking about stuff like GoldenEye.
Oh yeah, yeah,
GoldenEye got pushed back.
a
That
lot.
bad boy came out. I was like, oh my
It was
this game is
still regarded as one of the best first person shooters of any generation. It was so
Rare,
much fun.
Rare used to have the distinction of one of them come when they say, "Oh, Rare's gonna delay." Oh, hey, let them do what they got to do, man. Because when that game comes out, it's gonna be perfect.
Right.
Like if Rare delayed it, you were actually happy.
That means it's gonna be even more quality. Yeah, absolutely.
Rockstar Games is on that level right now. It's like when they push it back, good. Do what you got to do, perfect it. That thing's gonna be great.
Right. All right. So
and see, Marcus Smith, he said, if we can wait 14 years for Incredible 2, then a smaller wait for Red Dead 2 didn't hurt nobody.
It didn't hurt nobody. Absolutely not. It didn't hurt nobody. So
wait, and one of my friends just said that in story mode, it takes 6 hours
to do what?
To do what?
I don't know, to complete it. I guess in story mode it takes 6 hours to complete. That's a long time.
No. It
6
can't.
hours.
No way.
Or maybe that's the download time, or so. I don't know. Like
ain't no way that story is just 6 hours long. No way. No. He must have left a 0 off of there. Like maybe it was 60 hours to complete it. Because ain't no way. It's just 6 hours long. No way.
Hold up. Super Nerd, we was talking about this earlier. Did you see what Nicholas Autry put in the chat?
Oh yeah,
No,
any mention of
that?
racing game of the year? Yeah. So yes, actually, yes. It's mixed in with the sports category. So it says best sports / racing game. So you got FIFA, you got Forza, which is the only racing game in the entire category, and then you got Mario Tennis Aces, NBA 2K19, and Pro Evolution Soccer 2019. Now, Pro Evolution Soccer is almost, when you exist in a world with FIFA, it's like the redheaded stepchild of soccer games, similar to the way that, in Game of the Year, Assassin's Creed Odyssey is just hanging there. It's just like, he's just there. This is like, oh, poor baby. Here, we'll throw you a bone. We'll give you a little bit here. Here you go. You ain't gonna win this category right here. Same thing with Pro Evolution Soccer. Ain't no way it's gonna be FIFA. If FIFA was to win, it's not gonna be FIFA. No, forget about it. Not gonna happen.
Playing soccer games.
Nobody ever talk about like.
Ain't nobody playing soccer games. You kidding, right?
No, people play the hell out of FIFA now.
Yeah, people play the hell out of FIFA, dude. Like, FIFA is like damn near close to Madden level now. I kid you not.
I remember back when FIFA seemed like it would release every 3 years. It seemed like they didn't have a FIFA release every year. It seemed like it was every 3 years. Or it was just like Madden was always eclipsing it, so you never really paid attention. But now FIFA's
huge. FIFA is absolutely huge.
Oh, Johnny Patton, you're absolutely right, man. Burnout needs to come back.
Hell yeah, I love that game. But Criterion, the studio, was shut down, and I think it got absorbed by EA somehow. Yeah, just damn shame. But I think they're doing an HD remake of Burnout 3, the one that was on PS2.
Takedown?
Yeah,
Takedown?
that was oh my god, I love that game. Well, I think they're doing an HD remake of it.
I know Burnout Paradise is on sale for like $10 for Black Friday.
Yeah, it got an HD remake too. Yeah.
But Nicholas Autry brings up something. It's like he's saying he's playing Forza Horizon now, which is cool, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
I need somebody that plays Forza a lot besides Waffles, because I mean we already understand why this dude spent $1 million on his
on his rig, right?
So I understand that
on his rig,
but
right.
I need somebody to explain to me how Forza always comes up as like everybody's big like linchpin when they defending the Xbox One. I'm like,
right,
the driving game. And again, I get it. There's people like what they like. I got a car. I go outside and drive. I understand I can't drive the Le Mans and all this other craziness. However, at the end of the day, it's a driving game. Right. And I can drive a car normally. I can't go out and fight like a Brazilian monster that can electrocute me every day of the week. I can't do that. But I play Street Fighter, I can do that. So I need to understand why Forza is always like their first line of defense. Because everybody in any system versus system, that's the very first game they bring up is Forza. And I'm like,
I don't get it.
Oh,
I don't understand it.
Okay, okay. So y'all want to lay that out in the chat? I would love to know that because
So what is Forza better than Gran Turismo?
I guess
yeah,
so.
now it is. Yeah, I mean it has been, and it has been for quite a while. I was just thinking about that. Like, remember when Gran Turismo was like the pinnacle of racing games, like back in the day? But Forza overtook it. Forza overtook it, from what I understand.
Here's my issue with Gran Turismo. Gran Turismo, because once upon a time, I almost bought Gran Turismo 3. I was like this close to buying it, and then I read about it, talked to Waffles about it, I think a little bit, and it was like you got to get your licenses, and I'm like, it's a daggone simulation. Just let me pick whatever car I want to get and
let me drive. Right.
And then, I was like, oh, well, whatever. And then that was kind of in between PlayStation 2, and then they was about to transition to PlayStation 3. So I was like, oh, whatever. I'll just get the next one that comes on the PlayStation 4. I'm sorry, the PlayStation 3 at the time. Then they talk about Gran Turismo Prologue. And I'm like,
yeah.
Like,
a whole separate game on disc.
And I'm like, this isn't the game, though. This is just like a preview. So it's like they may as well call it Gran Turismo. They may as well call it Gran Turismo Auto Show, because I'm just sitting here like, I'm like, hold on. I'm like, the story normally is like just a little bit of like, here's what's coming and here's what you got to get. I'm like, no. This is a whole separate release. Then we get actual Gran Turismo 4, and I'm just like, are you kidding me? Yeah. You want me to buy the game twice, basically. And then on top of that, then they got to the point where downloadable content started to become all the rage, and it was like, oh, you got to download these cars if you want these cars. I'm like, oh, no, dude. Yeah. Y'all almost had me interested in Gran Turismo, and then y'all just kicked it to the curb. And then Forza did come out, and Forza seemed very interesting. But I'm like, I can't see that being the reason I buy an Xbox One. I do have an Xbox One S, but everybody keeps talking about Forza is like that deal, and nobody's been able to really lay it out to me as to
like why
right. Why is that one of the first ones y'all always mention? Like,
I agree.
Game.
I totally agree.
They make a big deal out of it, and then like a couple months after it comes out, crickets. Like,
unless you're one of those elite, unless you're like one of those elitists.
He answered it. There it is, right there. Forza Horizon, Halo, Gears of War, and Killer Instinct pretty much sums up all of Xbox One's exclusives. So it's very soon picking. So people must defend it. That's fair.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I just find it hilarious every time it's like, man, but Forza Horizon. I'm like, dude. What if I don't?
No, nobody cares
like that.
Right?
No, people care. Again, I'm not down to people that like it.
Right.
If,
the only thing
what you're hanging your hat on, you can't. You haven't sold me yet. You need to dig a little bit deeper.
The only thing that even makes the only thing that makes Xbox One have this hold on people is that their friends all have Xboxes, so they literally have to defend it. But like, if you look at it, side by side, which one is the better system, which has the more interesting games that you definitely want to play? Stop. Before you go there. Stop. Before you go there. The more interesting games are on PlayStation. I'm sorry, they are. The better exclusives are there. Go ahead.
No, I'm gonna tell you this. Since I got a place, since I'm borrowing Waffle's PlayStation,
You ain't giving that
games,
back.
I don't know.
Why you playing? You ain't gonna get that back.
We already got a
Yeah, you ain't gonna get that back. Why you playing?
No, he let me borrow. He doesn't care about borrowing it for 2-3 years. He already has a Pro, so he doesn't care.
That's true.
And he has an Xbox One. So what I'm
right.
saying is, I haven't touched my Xbox One in a couple months. I've been playing all the games he had already loaded up there on the PS4 already. I'm playing this game called Claws. I'm playing a game called Crossing Souls. Like, those games are dope. They're like little independent games. They're like it's sweet. Xbox don't have that right now, dude.
No, you don't. Like, hey, look, this is the man that we used to clown back in the day for getting the achievement for watching Netflix. We used to clown you, dog, because the only time you would cut on your Xbox was to watch Netflix, man. Remember that? We used to clown you for that. Yeah, we used to clown you for that. Like, we used to clown this dude for watching Netflix. He got the achievement for watching Netflix. He was never playing games. Like, we was always playing Battlefield. We was always playing, like, we was even playing Voltron. This kid was never found anywhere. We couldn't find him. He was, the only time he cut it on was like, hey, man, I'm watching some Netflix now. Oh, what are you doing? And this is before he had a girl. Yeah. He was sitting there by himself and he was watching Netflix. Come on, man.
Netflix has great movies.
No, man, but you watch, that's what you turn your Xbox off for? Is watching Netflix? Dog.
Well, sometimes it be late at night, I be watching Netflix. Sometimes I play games, but I pretty much get bored of some of the games I played. I wanted something new to play. And
man.
I mean, I do got games to play now, and I damn near beat all of them. So I was like, fuck.
In his defense, the actual the early Netflix app, because we used to see it over at Dido's house all the time. The early Netflix app for like straight up TV sucked. Like the system versions, like the console versions, were way better than the original Netflix.
And you remember when Xbox you could actually start like a watch party? Remember in the Xbox app? That was cool. That part was kind of cool. But no, this dude was chilling watching by himself though. I'm just saying. Yeah, he got achievement for it.
And I got achievement for YouTube too. So how about that?
Wow. Got to increase that gamer score however you could do so, right?
Well, I mean, like I said, I haven't literally touched, because I got a bunch of games now. I just haven't played it because I'm having so much fun playing the PS4 games that Waffles put on the PS4. It's like, shit is fun and it's interesting. It's like, I love indie games. And like Claws has been one of the games been taking control of me because I like what you got to do in there. And it's fun games, and that's what I think a lot of people like the PS4, because it's not just the typical game they just put out there. It's like because the only independent game I know they put out on Xbox was State of Decay.
Right.
And that it was cool and not, it was fun. But when I look on the PlayStation, I'm like, damn, there's a bunch of games out there that you can just have fun with. Like, what was the other one called? Was it Counter Spy?
Yeah.
Counter Spy is that deal.
Yeah, Counter Spy was cool, man.
My older brother is like killing it on that game, and he's not a gamer like that, and like he's like
Counter Spy is cool.
That is like insane. I'm like, dude, like you don't even play games like
right. It's a good game, man.
Game, man. I went home and downloaded and started playing. That game is fun as hell.
I remember a game Waffle was playing called Fez.
Yep.
Yeah.
You mean Fez or Rez?
Was it called Fez or Rez? I'm not sure what it was called.
What were you doing
in the game?
It was like
stuff.
No. It was like one of those action adventure.
Yeah, that was Fez. Yeah, that was Fez. FEZ. Yeah, that was Fez.
Yeah, and I felt like I was watching him play. I'm like, damn, PlayStation got games like this on there. And he's like, yeah, and he just kept showing me all these other games. I'm like, damn, how come Xbox ain't got nothing like that? You can just pick up and go and just, you know what I'm saying? Like, there was a few games Xbox had, but it's like, they kind of.
And look, man, I'm gonna say something that's real unpopular and it might give me some hate, but Xbox ain't been the same since that Xbox Arcade thing kind of went by the wayside.
Yeah.
Just saying. Just saying.
Arcade was dope. And then they took the games off too, which makes me
take the
shit off. Like, why'd you take it off? Like, some people still got it in their, saved on their games, but it's like,
dog, that's why I ain't sold my Xbox yet. If I lose it, I'm gonna lose Marvel vs. Capcom. I'm gonna lose Afterburner. I'm gonna lose all them other arcade games that I downloaded, man. I was like, I don't want to lose all them. But anyway, like I was saying,
wait, why is Elle so quiet? She all dropping her.
Talking about Sony and Microsoft. I'm sitting there waiting for somebody, like waiting for a Nintendo fanboy to pop up.
Hey, you know what? Speaking of Nintendo fan, right? They basically got their own category in the Game Awards this year. It's called Best Family Game. Like, I kid you not. The entire thing is full of Nintendo games. Yes.
Hold on. Are you serious?
I'm serious, man. Best Family Game is Mario Tennis Aces, Nintendo Labo, Overcooked, Starlink Battle for Atlas, and Super Mario Party. Now, I think all of those are Switch games, are they not? I could be wrong.
No. Overcooked came out on PlayStation. I've seen that one on PlayStation.
Overcooked came out on PlayStation, but Starlink Battle for Atlas.
But here's the thing. Well, maybe Overcooked too. Maybe that's why it's in this year. Because I'm like, Overcooked came out last year.
Yeah, Overcooked is multi-platform, but most of this is Nintendo stuff.
It's Nintendo.
Exactly, it's all Nintendo stuff. So they got their own category this year.
That's desperation. I'm sorry, dude. That smells and reeks of desperation. Because here's the thing. You literally are saying we are not good enough to sit at the big, at the
big boys table. Because dog,
right.
Ain't none of them big categories like best action game, best game of the year, best action adventure. Well, except for Mega Man 11, but that's a multi-platform game, so you can't. Yeah, that's multi-platform.
Here's the thing. Here's the reason I say that though, because it is a knock on Nintendo because again, we all grew up.
Yes,
Nintendo,
we did.
The system, blah blah blah, and
yes,
they used to be the mob back in the day, and they were awesome.
The Nintendo seal of approval.
They literally can only get on the board if there is a best family game. That really means they fell off hard. Now, granted, they're making their money because they found their niche and they are working it, and that's fine.
Yep.
But the fact that the third-party support is so non-existent, and that their first-party stuff is so kiddie, that's sad, man.
Yeah,
that literally means that me passing up on this because again, I just got the Wii U 3 months ago. Only because Mario Maker was gnawing at me. And I was like, I have to play that game. It's fun. But the fact that I literally passed up their last two systems with no even thoughts of looking back, not even really caring, is bad. Because I used to buy every system as they came out. And they literally are not showing me anything. And the fact that they are just out of every category with the exception of the one that essentially they lobbied and paid somebody to have that category added.
Best family game.
Back in the day, Super Mario 3 would have been nominated for Game of the Year.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have. Nintendo, man, they fell off, man.
A couple more things before we get out of here, but speaking of sad, how sad is the whole Eidos Tomb Raider franchise? Shadow of the Tomb Raider just came out, and that boy's gotten forgotten so fast. I mean, nobody's talking about it.
Red Dead ate it, man. I'm sorry.
Nobody's talking about it. Even before that, though, nobody was talking about it. Nobody's talking about it. It's
hidden gem.
Come out. We had way too many games that come out, a lot of really big ones too. So.
Yeah, it's like Spider-Man came out, and then 2 weeks later, I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider came out, and still no one was talking about it because Spider-Man was still the rage. And it was
you're going up against the second coming of Spider-Man, literally.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm sorry. This is Lady Lara Croft, though. It's supposed to be Lady Lara Croft.
Oh, dude. Laura, here's the problem. Laura has fallen off ever since. And I'm going to be mean here.
He's going to be mean. Go ahead.
They took away her original curvature and the way she looked.
I knew he was going to go there.
I'm being real, though. Come on. Let's be real. Let's go back to Tomb Raider 2, the video game. There was a scuba company that literally put their scuba suit on the character, licensed it to the game because of how she looked.
Yeah.
So the fact that you had real life companies saying, "Hey, we'll throw some money towards this game to get our outfits and stuff on the character," that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
She had a modeling profile and measurements just in case companies legitimately wanted to put their clothes on this character, and she's not a real person.
Yeah.
So you go from that to Tomb Raider. What was the one where they basically the remake, the Crystal Dynamics one, the very first one, when they just
the original Tomb Raider,
all of her curves away and everything, and try to make her more quote unquote realistic.
Yeah.
The sex appeal, when you lost the sex appeal, the character was still cool, but it wasn't on that insane level that it used to be.
True.
Because U2 did a damn song for the character. That's unheard of.
Yeah.
This is ridiculous. They put her in their music video.
Yeah, that's true.
That freak, she's not even real. So it's like
right.
You can't. It's like, I'm sorry, I'll say it a million times.
Yeah.
Tech still sells. I don't care what
it'll
nobody
always
wants
sell,
to say
man.
about that.
Yeah, it'll
And
always sell.
You lose that aspect of the character, because that was one of the main selling points for the character. Period.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that it was, independent woman doing her thing, rich, strong, all that. It was the fact that she looked great. That was the other half of the equation. And when they decided to go shun that and redesign her and do all this other stuff, it was like, okay, it's still Laura, but it ain't the same Laura I grew up with. And I'm sorry, the games, you just started seeing there's a decline in popularity.
True.
But even though the
first, if they're great or not.
Yeah, I guess even the first 2 games they came out with for the Xbox were dope. I love both of those games. I forgot the third one even came out.
Yep.
Right.
It was like a hidden thing.
Swallowed up by a bunch of other games, man. It's like, even on top of it, like Square, in general, kind of got a little bit of scrutiny this past year, because they haven't really been really hitting a lot of hitting all cylinders with the fan base this past year and stuff, and with Final Fantasy 15 and whatnot and all that. So I don't know. There's speculation. There's some stuff going on over there.
Something to keep our eye on.
67 remake done.
Right. So, a couple other things that I wanted to touch on briefly before we got out of here. One is, I think Dragon Ball FighterZ has a really good chance of coming out with the best fighting game, and it might be the first anime fighter to win that category. And that was pretty much unfathomable at one point in time. We thought Street Fighter or Tekken or Soul Calibur or something would have had that on lock. But I think Dragon Ball FighterZ seriously might take it this year, just because of its wild popularity, and because of the other thing that I wanted to bring up. Esports has a huge presence in this award system. You got categories for best esports game, best esports player, best esports team, best esports coach, best esports event, best esports host, best esports moment. Are you kidding me? We've got 7 awards dedicated just to esports. And I can't remember esports having that big of a push at a live awards show. We're talking dudes right now, if they weren't super icons before, they might be now, because remember Sonic Fox, and his exploits over at Evo this year. He's up for best esports player. Imagine what happens if he wins that thing. He'll be able to go up on stage and be able to address the world. Dude, we're talking you're gonna make legendary icons out of these people now. It's they won't be flash in the pans or anything like that. Daigo never got this. Daigo never got this kind of pub. So it just speaks to me how big esports has gotten, that it's got this huge presence on a big time award show now. So what do you guys think about all of that before we get out of here?
Might get that one over
yeah, Tokido. Yeah, Tokido might get that. You're right. Tokido might get that. You're absolutely right about that. But just the fact that esports has this big of a presence is just, I love it. I love it.
Without a doubt. It's definitely growing, and the influence is there. So hell over there all quiet.
Right.
She don't want to talk to nobody. She's too good for everybody now.
I guess so. But let's see, best esports moment. C9's comeback win in triple overtime versus FaZe in the IG League event. You got OG's massive upset of LGD in the Dota 2 finals, and of course Sonic Fox's controversial side switch against Goichi in the DBZ Evo finals, which I thought was kind of interesting, because it's you never see anybody doing that. Literally, dude was like, "Hey, let me switch sides with you, man. For real, I'm gonna switch sides with you," and then proceeds to beat him up right after that. Dog, you never see anything like that. I thought that was kind of interesting.
Here's the thing, though, and I hate to hog it all, but I'm going to have to say this. That's hard to really sell, because unless you got an Evo moment 34 or 37, I think it was 37. Yeah, that's not really that spectacular to me. An upset win or a particular team winning, it's unless it's a really cool visual, I don't really care.
But I guess it's because it's supposed to, quote unquote, goes against the gentleman's etiquette, I guess, of fighting game tournaments. You don't ask to switch sides, man. You just don't do that.
But again, the dude could have said no. But like to me,
you're right. You're right. Goichi could have said no. You're right.
Just because you switch sides, no, I want to see a really interesting knockout or a really interesting comeback. That's what I would like to see.
Well, that was it. That was it because literally he was down to his last set. He switched up and then eventually, took it. So
again, like Deadpool said, it's not very cinematic. It's like to me, that's like, okay, so the Raiders beat the Lions this week. Okay.
Yeah,
unless you show me an exact play that was just like, dude, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
That'll get me hyped for a moment. But like, if you're talking about like, this guy switched sides with this guy and he beat him.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Maybe we shouldn't let him switch sides with him.
That's cool. So anyway, guys, we're gonna go ahead and get out of here. We've had a fantastic show, remembering the late great Immortal Stan Lee. We talked a little bit about the hot take that I had about Detective Pikachu, whether it's going to make $1 billion or not. And we just finished rapping a little bit about the Game Awards 2018, which are going to be broadcasting live on the internet in a couple of weeks. But make sure you come back next week for our pre-Thanksgiving show on November 21st. Man, can you imagine? It's already Thanksgiving. Christmas is literally right around the corner, man. This year's going by pretty fast. It's
already Black Friday. Else. I don't care about Thanksgiving.
That's true. Yeah. So, but anyway, guys, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. We want to thank you all for joining us. We hope you had a really great time. And if you did, be sure to subscribe to us over on our YouTube channel or on our Twitch channel. We're going to start trying to do, some more interesting things. So make sure you also follow us on Twitter to stay tuned with all the latest updates. For my friends, GQ, for LGZ, Fallen Marvel, and Super Nerd Plus, I'm Kishiro. We'll see you guys next week. Peace out.
Excelsior. True believers.
Yeah, there you go, my man. There you go, man. I need to put that in the soundboard. I think I'm gonna do that. Excelsior. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. That would be nice. Yeah, that would be really nice.
I'll go for that.
Yeah.
Bye.